Listen carefully because what I'm about to tell you can save you from years of wasted energy, broken trust, and hidden betrayal. There are people in your life right now, people who smile in your face, laugh at your jokes, maybe even clap for your success, but deep down they don't want you to win. They envy you. And worse, they hide behind a mask of falsehood. The sooner you learn to recognize envy and deception, the stronger, sharper, and more unshakable you will become. So here are 6 undeniable ways to spot envy and falsehood in others. 1. They disguise criticism as advice. One of the most subtle but dangerous forms of envy shows up in the disguise of advice. And here's the truth, most people won't attack you directly. That's too obvious. Instead, they come dressed as a helper, as someone who cares, someone who claims to be protecting you from failure. But what they're really doing is planting seeds of doubt, watering them with fear, and waiting for you to sabotage yourself. Think about it. You share a dream, a vision, or maybe even just a small achievement. You're excited. Your energy is high. And then this person looks at you with that forced smile and says something like, "Well, I don't want to be negative, but are you sure that's realistic? Or maybe I'm only telling you this for your own good. You don't want to aim too high and get disappointed." Sounds harmless, right? But what's really happening is psychological warfare. Instead of celebrating your ambition, they frame it as a mistake. Instead of amplifying your confidence, they inject hesitation. And the worst part, they make you question yourself. Here's what you need to understand. Real friends, true supporters, people who want the best for you, they'll tell you the truth, yes, but their words will still empower you. They'll say, "This will be tough, but I believe in you." Or "You'll need to prepare, but you can absolutely do this." Notice the difference. One lifts while preparing you for reality. The other clips your wings before you even take off. Envy cannot stand the idea of you rising higher, so it disguises itself as constructive criticism. But look closely, is the advice actually helping you grow, or is it shrinking your belief? That's the question you must ask yourself every single time. Because if you listen long enough to the envious disguised as advisors, you'll start dimming your own fire. You'll play smaller, dream smaller, live smaller, not because you weren't capable, but because you believed their false concern. That's the trap. And here's the lesson. Pay attention to how you feel after someone gives you advice. Do you feel stronger, sharper, more determined? Or do you feel weaker, uncertain, hesitant? That feeling is your truth detector. Real support strengthens your spine. Envy, even when wrapped in pretty words, will always make your spirit feel heavier. The moment you see this pattern, cut it out. Stop oversharing your dreams with people who can't handle them. Share less, move more, protect your goals like sacred fire. Because when envy wears the mask of advice, its mission is not to protect you, it's to paralyze you. And once you recognize that, they lose their power over you forever. 2. They celebrate your failures more than your successes. One of the clearest signs of envy is this: people reveal their true colors, not when you win, but when you lose. You see, success is heavy, it forces masks to slip, and Failure exposes the people who never wanted you to succeed in the first place. Watch closely. When you fail, stumble, or hit a setback, the envious person's energy changes. Suddenly they're available. Suddenly they're interested. They'll ask questions, they'll want details, they'll lean in, not out of genuine care, but because your struggle makes them feel taller. It's twisted, but here's the psychology. Envy thrives on imbalance. When you rise, it reminds them of what they lack. When you fall, it makes them feel safe again. Your failure reassures them that you're not as unstoppable as they feared, and that relief you sense in their tone. That's not empathy, that's satisfaction. They might not openly laugh at your pain. They won't always say, "I told you so." No, envy is slicker than that. It shows up as fake comfort. The pat on the back that says, "Don't worry, maybe it just wasn't meant for you," or the fake sympathy with phrases like, "It happens to the best of us." But listen carefully, underneath their words isn't encouragement, it's contentment. They're not trying to lift you back up, they're trying to keep you down. Now flip the scenario. Watch what happens when you succeed. Do they celebrate loudly, consistently, and with genuine joy? Or do they grow quiet, delayed, even distant? Sometimes they'll force a congratulations, but you'll notice their enthusiasm is hollow. It doesn't match the gravity of your achievement. Why? Because your success hurts them. It challenges their sense of worth, it exposes their lack of effort, their lack of courage, their lack of discipline. This is why you must observe not only how people act when you're struggling, but especially how they act when you're thriving. Genuine allies celebrate both moments. They'll stand with you in the storm, and they'll dance with you in the sunshine. But the envious, they can only handle your rain, never your shine. So here's the warning, stop ignoring those subtle reactions. When you succeed and they minimize it, that's a clue. When you fail and they secretly seem energized, that's confirmation. You're not dealing with a supporter, you're dealing with someone who needs your losses to feel whole. And here's the truth, life is too short to surround yourself with people who love your struggles, but hate your strength. Protect your victories by being mindful of who you share them with. Not every ear deserves your success story. Not every heart can handle your rise. Remember this, those who love you will always love you at your highest and at your lowest. Envious and false people, they're only comfortable when you're beneath them. And once you see that pattern clearly, you'll never mistake their sympathy for real support again. 3. Their support has conditions. One of the most deceptive masks envy wears is the mask of conditional support. On the surface, these people look like they're standing with you. They may offer a helping hand, share advice, even open doors for you. But pay close attention. There's always a price. Their support isn't pure, it isn't free, it comes with strings attached. Here's the reality, genuine support is unconditional. True allies don't help you because of what they can get, they help you because of who you are and what you mean to them. They clap because they're proud, they stand because they care, and they give because they believe. But the envious and the false-hearted, their support is a transaction. They expect something back. If they can't benefit, they won't bother. You'll notice this pattern if you watch closely. They'll show up when there's an audience, when supporting you makes them look good, when helping you puts them in a position of influence. But when the spotlight fades, when you need them in silence, when nobody is watching, suddenly they disappear. Why? Because their loyalty was never to you, it was to their own image. And this is dangerous, because it creates a false sense of security. You believe they're on your side, but the truth is, they're only on your side as long as your wins benefit them. The second your success threatens their ego, or your needs outweigh their convenience, they vanish. Worse, some will even turn against you. Conditional support often comes with manipulation. They'll remind you of what they've done for you. They'll hold it over your head. After all I've done, you can't even do this one thing for me. Or don't forget who was there when you needed help. Pay attention, that's not love, that's leverage, that's not friendship, that's control. And this is where envy hides best, because on the surface they look generous, outsiders might even praise them for how much they support you. But behind closed doors, you feel the weight of their expectations. It's not giving, it's lending. And one day they'll demand repayment, often at a cost much higher than what they gave. Here's the test. When someone supports you, ask yourself, does their help come with freedom, or with strings? Do you feel uplifted and independent, or do you feel indebted and trapped? Because real support doesn't bind you, it frees you. Real support doesn't demand repayment, it multiplies without conditions. This is why you must learn to separate genuine loyalty from counterfeit loyalty. The counterfeit will praise you when it benefits them, and abandon you when it doesn't. The genuine will stand with you, whether you're on the mountaintop or in the valley, whether there's applause or silence, whether you can give back or not. So don't be fooled by appearances. Just because someone claps for you, doesn't mean they're clapping for your growth. Sometimes they're only clapping for themselves, for the recognition, for the credit, for the advantage they think they gain by being by your side. Conditional support is not support, it's a hidden contract. And once you recognize it, once you refuse to sign that contract, with your silence and compliance, you take back your power. You'll stop confusing manipulation for loyalty, and you'll start building a circle of people who stand not because of what they get, but because of who you are. 4. They compete when there's no competition. Envy has a peculiar habit, it turns every interaction into a contest, even when there is no scoreboard. You'll notice it in conversations, in casual exchanges, in the smallest moments. Instead of celebrating with you, instead of simply listening and connecting, these people shift the focus. Why? Because your progress feels like their defeat, and their ego cannot stand it. You share an achievement, maybe you got a promotion, launched a project, or finally hit a personal goal. A genuine friend would light up and say, "That's incredible. Tell me more." But the envious person, they immediately flip the script. Suddenly it's, "Oh, I did something similar last year," or "That's good, but you know what I've been working on." What just happened? You thought you were sharing joy, but you triggered a silent competition. Your success made them insecure, and instead of applauding, they redirected the spotlight back to themselves. This constant comparison is exhausting. It turns every interaction into a silent battle. If you buy a new car, they'll rush to tell you about theirs. If you share a fitness goal, they'll brag about theirs being better. If you mention travel, they'll one-up your destination. It's not conversation, it's combat. And here's the deeper truth. People who compete when there's no competition are revealing something about themselves. They don't see life as collaboration, they don't see success as abundant. To them, your win is their loss. Your growth makes them feel smaller. And instead of fixing their own insecurities, they try to level the playing field by dragging you into an imaginary contest. The danger here is subtle but real. If you're not careful, you'll start shrinking yourself to keep the peace. You'll stop sharing victories, stop celebrating milestones, stop expressing joy, because every time you do, you trigger their defensiveness, and that silence slowly kills your confidence. But here's the shift. Life is not a competition against others. It's a race against yourself, against your yesterday, against the person you were. The people who truly care for you know this. They don't feel threatened by your rise, they're inspired by it. They don't need to outshine you, they shine with you. So how do you deal with those who turn everything into a competition? Simple. Stop playing their game. You don't need to outdo them. You don't need to match their energy. Smile, acknowledge and move on. Don't let their insecurity trap you in a battle you never signed up for. And most importantly, stop mistaking competitiveness for motivation. Some people will disguise envy as healthy rivalry. They'll say, "I just want to push you to do better." But deep down, it's not about you growing. It's about them keeping up. And if you remove the scoreboard, their interest in you would vanish. The truth is this: your journey is yours alone. The only person you need to outwork, outgrow, and outlast is the person you were yesterday. Anyone who tries to compete with you when there is no competition is not an ally, they're an anchor. Recognize it, release it, and rise without apology. 5. Their praise feels hollow. There's a kind of envy that doesn't show up as criticism, or competition, or even open resistance. Instead, it shows up as something that looks positive on the surface. Praise, but make no mistake, sometimes praise is hollow. It's forced, it's fake, and if you're not paying attention, you'll mistake it for support, when in reality it's envy wearing a smile. Think about it. Genuine praise has energy. When someone truly celebrates you, you feel it. Their words align with their tone, their eyes, their body language. It's authentic. You walk away feeling uplifted. But when praise is hollow, it doesn't match. The words are there, but the weight isn't. It feels delayed, exaggerated, or robotic. They say congratulations, but their face is stiff. They say that's amazing, but their voice is flat. Or worse, they don't say anything at all, until others are watching, and then suddenly they perform enthusiasm. That's not admiration. That's envy trying to keep up appearances. Because here's the truth: envious people know they can't openly show their resentment, not if they want to maintain access to you. So they clap, but only loud enough to cover their jealousy. They applaud, but only so you don't notice their discomfort. And you will notice, if you're honest with yourself, you'll notice how their compliments often carry a subtle sting. "Wow, you're doing so well. I didn't think you had it in you." Or "Good for you, but don't let it get to your head." It looks like praise, but listen closely. It's a backhanded swipe. That's not support. It's sabotage wrapped in a compliment. Other times, hollow praise shows up through inconsistency. They'll celebrate you loudly for small things, but when you achieve something significant, their energy is muted. Why? Because the bigger your win, the more it threatens them. So they go quiet, or they keep it short, or they disappear completely. You must understand, real support doesn't pick and choose when to cheer. Real support claps in private and in public, whether the win is small or monumental. Envy, on the other hand, struggles with consistency, because deep down, your victories cut into their pride. This is why hollow praise is dangerous. It keeps you second-guessing. You start asking yourself, "Am I imagining things? Maybe I'm too sensitive." But no, you're not imagining it. Your intuition is reading what their words are hiding. Energy doesn't lie. Here's the test. After someone praises you, how do you feel? Do you feel encouraged, seen, validated, or do you feel uneasy, doubtful, almost like something was missing? That gut feeling is your signal, because genuine praise leaves you stronger. Hollow praise leaves you questioning. So what do? You stop depending on hollow applause. You stop waiting for false people to validate you, and you start surrounding yourself with those whose joy for you is real, whose admiration comes naturally, whose pride in you doesn't come with hesitation. Because the truth is this: you don't need fake claps to keep walking. You don't need hollow words to keep rising. The envious may pretend, but eventually their silence, their tone, their inconsistency will reveal them. And when it does, let it go. Protect your spirit, because your success deserves real celebration, not counterfeit approval. 6. They twist truth into manipulation. If envy has a sharpest weapon, it's this: distortion. Envious and false-hearted people rarely fight you with honesty. That's too direct, too easy to detect. Instead, they twist truth. They bend facts. They manipulate words, situations, and perceptions until you start doubting yourself. And once you doubt yourself, they don't even need to destroy you. You'll do it for them. Here's how it works. They'll take a piece of truth, something small, and then stretch it into a narrative that benefits them and harms you. For example, maybe you made a mistake. We all do. A genuine supporter would pull you aside, point it out with love, and help you grow. But the envious, they'll take that same mistake and magnify it. They'll whisper it to others. They'll twist it into a pattern, as if one error defines your whole character. Manipulation thrives in half-truths. They don't have to invent lies from scratch. They just twist reality enough to make you look weak, careless, or untrustworthy. And because there's a seed of truth in it, you'll find yourself struggling to defend against it. Worse still, manipulators will distort not just what you do, but what you say. They'll quote you out of context. They'll repeat your words in a different tone. They'll retell conversations in ways that make you sound arrogant, ungrateful, or cruel. Suddenly you're fighting battles you didn't even know you were in. But here's the most dangerous part. Manipulation doesn't always happen in public. Sometimes it's aimed directly at you. They'll twist words in one-on-one conversations, gaslighting you into questioning your memory, your perception, your sanity. They'll say, "I never said that," when you know they did, or "You're overreacting," when your reaction is perfectly valid. The goal is to weaken your confidence in your own judgment, because once you stop trusting yourself, you'll start depending on them, and that's exactly where envy wants you: confused, small, and controlled. So how do you recognize it? Pay attention to patterns. If someone's stories about you never match your reality, if their version of events always leaves you looking wrong and them looking right, that's not miscommunication, that's manipulation. If you walk away from conversations constantly, second-guessing yourself, replaying words in your head, that's not growth, that's gaslighting. And here's the truth. Real allies don't twist truth, they speak it, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. But they speak it straight, with clarity, with respect, with the intention of building, not breaking. Manipulators do the opposite. They cloud, they confuse, they conceal. The moment you spot this, you must act. Stop arguing with manipulators. Stop explaining yourself endlessly to those committed to misunderstanding you. Their goal isn't clarity, it's control. And the more you defend yourself, the more you feed their game. Instead, step back, document truth for yourself, stand firm in your reality, and most importantly, distance yourself. Because truth is sharp, but manipulation is sticky. If you keep engaging, it will entangle you. Remember this: falsehood can win in the short term, but truth always lasts in the long run. Lies collapse under their own weight. Manipulation destroys itself. Your job is not to fix the envious. Your job is to protect your mind, guard your spirit, and walk in truth so boldly that no distortion can hold you. So never forget, envy doesn't just hate your success, it hates your clarity, and that's why they twist it. But once you see it for what it is, once you refuse to play along, their power dissolves. Because the strongest shield against manipulation is unshakable awareness. Conclusion: envy and falsehood are poisons. They don't always scream, they whisper. They don't always attack, they disguise. But once you learn the signs: fake advice, joy in your failures, conditional support, unnecessary competition, hollow praise, and manipulation, you'll never be fooled again. The key is awareness. When you see these patterns, you stop investing in the wrong people. You stop explaining yourself to hidden rivals, and you start building a circle of truth around you. a circle of people who clap when you win, stand when you fall, and celebrate you not out of envy, but out of love. So remember this: envy hides, falsehood pretends, but truth always leaves clues. Watch, listen, trust what you see more than what you hear, and protect your spirit, because your growth, your light, your success, it deserves more than fake claps and false friends.